Hello, my name is Jeff Stiles, and today we're going to be taking a look at a Power App combined with Power Automate that I've been working on recently. I got this idea from my work with BioLife manufacturers, cellular manufacturing or biopharma manufacturing, and their unique needs when it comes to warehousing. Oftentimes, since they have a lot of organic material in their warehouse, they need to periodically check that material, maybe do some destructive testing on it, create reports, archive those reports, so on and so forth. Much more than, let's say, somebody who just has dry goods in their warehouse. And so this is an application that is efficient, it's streamlined, and offers companies a way in order to manage that inventory on the ground without having a full-blown WMS system or even necessarily a full-blown QMS system. So what you'll see here today can be expanded upon and actually is built on the same data source that D365 FSCM sits on, which is Dataverse. Okay, and so what you see going on with Power Automate and Power Apps, you can expect that a similar functionality if you have D365 and want to get into the Power Apps, Power Automate space. Okay, so like I said, this is specifically tailored to mainly inventory adjustment functionality from D365 combined with the ability to have great visibility and adjust on products based on their days till expiration, days in location, and also their stock level percentage based on a threshold that we assign to the product, which can be a little bit similar to, let's say, safety stock or a reorder point. All right. We're then going to see how a report is automatically created, a PDF report is automatically created and sent off to an approver before any adjustments are officially made to the back end in the Dataverse of your environment. So let's start by taking a look at our login screen here. Pretty straightforward. We just need to enter the email associated with the active user logged in here. And their password. Okay. And right away, we're jumping into, is Chrome trying to help me out? Right away, we're jumping into the dashboard. And so from the dashboard, we have a couple different main areas. We have the on-hand inventory search and those trackers that I was talking about before, the days to expiration, our days in location, and our stock level. You can see here that they're broken up by green, yellow, and red sections with a digit in there. And each digit represents the number of inventory records that we can consider either good, fair, or bad in terms of days to expiration, days in location, and stock level. We'll see a little bit more about this in a minute when we jump over to these different pages. But first, let's take a look at our on-hand inventory system on the left-hand side. So let's say a user wants to log in and check what we actually have in the warehouse. We can see everything at a glance here on the left-hand side in what's known as a gallery in Power Apps. Any inventory record field that we usually see in D365 can be brought in here. And so I brought in a few: the product name, product ID, batch number, warehouse location, quantity, and days in location. That's going to be a generated field based on the last transaction in D365. But we also have a couple quick action sorting buttons here based on product, warehouse, and location. So if I want to sort everything that I see in this gallery based on product, I can do so. Also based on warehouse and location. The different dropdowns over here are called combo boxes in Power Apps. They act a little differently than a dropdown because I can select multiple results here and have each of these different results layer on top of each other in order to continue filtering what we see in the gallery. So let's see, for example, if I want to search and only see product 1, that's great. Let's see, based on these 3 results, that I only want to see a particular batch number. I can do that. Let's say 5432. And it's only going to show me any inventory records that are both product 1 and batch 5432. I can continue this on in order to continue filtering my result, because most likely I have hundreds or thousands of lines here. And so being able to filter like that becomes very important. You'll notice that I have 3 warehouse options here and 3 warehouse letters here as well at the top left. At the top left, the warehouse A, B, C represents actually 3 different warehouses: warehouse A, warehouse B, and warehouse C. And depending on the kind of access that my user has, I'm going to see 1, 2, or 3 of those letters. Let's say I only have access to warehouse B, then up at the top left, it would say warehouse B. And since I only have access to warehouse B, I would also only have access to warehouse B in this drop down here, and also only be able to see warehouse B's results in the gallery over here, as well as in any of the results that I see here in days to expiration, days in location, and stock level once we go over to those pages. Here, we're just seeing everything all at once because I am accessing this as the admin role, but you can start thinking how you could tailor this application to your specific security roles in order to segment duties and make sure that nobody is patching or updating or adjusting anything that isn't in their specific warehouse. All right, so that's a quick overview of what we can see on hand. Let's jump into our days to expiration, days in location, and stock level pages. So for days to expiration, I can see on the left-hand side here, days to expiration greater than 90 days from today, days to expiration between 45 to 90 days, once again from today, and again from today, days to expiration less than 45 days. Each of the gallery templates here, one item here is called a template. We can select through each of them. We can see a lot of the same information we saw before on our dashboard, but we have a call out here to the specific expiration date. We also have an adjust button. If I select this button, which I'm not going to do now, I'll be telling the system, hey, take all of the information for this inventory record that I'm looking at right now that I have selected and bring that over to an adjustment page where the system is going to auto fill in all of the different adjustment fields that I have set up there, allow me to make any changes to them, review, and then submit in a reported PDF generated in an automated PDF, in an automatically created PDF, there we go, sent off to my manager as either a Teams communication or on a email, just sent to their Outlook. I can also check out days in location. Once again, I have 4 good ones, 3 fair ones, and 4 bad ones. For days in location that have been in there for less than 90 days, I have inventory records that have been in their location for 90 to 180 days and greater than 180 days. Now, why would that be bad? Well, once again, this is coming from the perspective that maybe I have inventory that's in deep storage. They've been in the freezer for a while. We know that they're organic materials. They can't be in deep storage for too long without them being destroyed. Or maybe I have some sort of regulatory requirement that I have to meet that, hey, if something, for example, donor blood or stem cells have been in deep storage for long enough, they need to be taken out. I need to do some destructive sampling. I need to do some sort of inspection. There needs to be a report, and that report needs to be archived and rubber stamped. Okay, this is fulfilling that kind of use case. Going back again, we can check our stock level. I have 5 inventory records that have a stock greater than 25% of their threshold. For simplicity here, I've set the threshold for each product to 1,000, but again, this can mimic a heads up to warehouse personnel for safety stock or reorder points. We also have stock 10 to 25% of their threshold, once again based on 1,000, and less than 10% of their threshold, once again based on 1,000. And I can see that quantity here, 65, 90, 21, and so on and so forth. Okay, so now let's take a look after we've after we've studied what we have on hand, we've studied what we have days to expiration, in location, and stock level, and we've determined, hey, we really need to take care of those expiration items first. So we can click on that. We can choose one of our red items that we know needs to be updated. Okay, and we're sent over to our adjustments page. Automatically, we can see a lot of these fields are already filled. Okay, for example, we have the product ID field, the batch number field, warehouse location, quantity, and expiration date of that batch. This is all being pulled in. If I wanted to go ahead and change that expiration date after doing, let's say, an inspection, we did our destructive sampling, and we're saying, okay, now it's safe to actually update the expiration. If that sounds weird to you, I did actually have this use case requirement for a previous customer. I can select the new date, click OK, and we can see the field is now highlighted in this pale yellow color. This is telling the user right away, hey, you've made a change that is different than what we have in the data source, okay, in that database that is the background of Dynamics 365. If the user thinks, well, that wasn't the right move or I made a mistake, they can come over here to the reset button, press that. It automatically turns that expiration date back to whatever we have in the back end of Dataverse and removes that yellow highlighting. Up at the top here, we also have a few different quality control measures, but these are very simple. They can be built out very easily to fit your needs. Hey, what's the condition? We can say good, partial, none. Once again, if those aren't good enough, we can hit reset and put them back to critical. We also have a little notification up here at the top saying the reset was successful. But why is this saying critical? Because we're following best practices here with this app and saying, hey, if we do have, if we are going to be making an adjustment to this item, we want to be checking that the quality control is actually being done correctly. We don't want users just going into this page, seeing these dropdowns automatically toggled to good or none, and just saying, meh, it's probably all right, and selecting update or approval for submission and having it go off to the management from there. No, like any good quality control, we want this to default to its fail state so that users actually have to come in here and either confirm that it has failed or make sure that management is highlighted of an issue. All right. And we can also change that temperature gauge on here as well. Any notes that we need to enter? We can do so and make that as part of the report. And also if we have a picture that we need to take, we can do so by selecting the camera icon here. Okay. It's trying to access my current webcam. My laptop is actually closed right now, but this would be accessing your device's camera. And then once selecting that, it will fill up our image right here. And so let me pause the video and just set that up and make a picture for you. Okay, and here we can see the picture that I took. Again, it wasn't allowing me to take the picture just because I'm recording this at the same time, but it does allow you to take a little picture. If the picture quality isn't up to snuff because Power Apps, the Power Apps control, the tool in Power Apps that controls this picture, doesn't allow for very large or very granular pictures. There is a different way of doing this to where you can use the camera's own device functionality in order to take that picture and upload it as a typical file instead. But just clicking off here, off into the background, we can close this out and we can see that picture that I took right there. Okay. So let's see another example real quick. I can hit the back button in order to go back to my days to expiration, or if I want to hit back again or hit the home button here, I can go back to the dashboard. And let's say I wanted to take a look at days in location. All right. Let's say I wanted to adjust something about our donor blood. So I can select that adjustment. It's going back. It's bringing in all of that information there. I'm having it leave in the picture here right now, just so I don't have to go through all of that again. But you can see all of the information here has changed. And the adjustments, the controls on our adjustments page for our quality control have reverted, as well as the note that I made earlier. So let's just make some changes real quick again before we submit. Let's say we're changing the temperature. Good. No leakage. Nothing's looking corroded. But let's say that I moved to the location here to, let's say, location 6. And so we have those highlights signifying that we have changes. Everything else is going to stay the same. We have a picture in here. And now we have two options available to us. All right. We can directly update this record in the database by selecting this button right here. Let's say this is a manager role, or we have just an admin role, or whatever role we need in order to not have to go through the approval process. We can select this and patch it right away. And so let's take a look at what that would be like. So I select update. I'm seeing an action, a graphic on screen here, essentially just telling the user that, hey, we're doing some work in the background. And then after a bit, we're going to see that it has successfully patched the location, as well as condition, leakage, and corrosion. Okay. And congratulations, we get that notification up at the top. You updated the inventory. All right. But if, let's say, I want to change that to location 8 instead of location 6, and let's say I want these to all be good, none, and none again. And let's have another comment in here. And let's say I wanted to send this off as a report. That report is going to go through Power Automate. It's going to generate a PDF, save that PDF in OneDrive for our purposes, but could be saved to any archiving system you want, and then send that PDF as an inspection report or an adjustment report to the approving manager. Once they select, yes, this is okay to approve, then the system is going to automatically update the backend using Power Automate, which is actually more efficient than Power Apps. Sometimes Power Apps can be a little slower just patching everything like we saw. It's still, less than 15 seconds or so, I think that was. But Power Automate is able to do it much faster because it's not using local resources. It's using Microsoft instead in order to lift that weight. So let's select approval submission here and see what it does. Okay, that was a lot faster. So congratulations, you submitted an inventory adjustment for approval. And so let's close this out. And now take a look at things from the manager's perspective and talk a little bit about what that Power Automate flow is doing in the background. Okay, so going over to our flows here, this is the flow that's currently being used. All right, we can see this one right here is currently running. The duration so far has been about half a minute. It started 26 seconds ago. We can click into it. If you're unfamiliar with Power Automate, this is essentially an at-a-glance view of what a flow is doing in real time. All right. We'll talk all about these steps here in a minute, but I want to point out that start and wait for approval, it currently has this little yellow icon on it. That means it's in process. We can expand it out. We see that, okay, yep, it has the connection for approval. You can also see that, hey, I just got a Teams message and I got an Outlook message. So in Teams, I can check my activity here and, oh, it looks like, yep, I got an approval. And hey, check this out, inventory adjustment report PDF. Very cool. It can show me the person who requested this. So this would be the warehouse user. And then the pending response would be their manager. Since I'm just demoing this today, I'm using my account for both of them, but it's pretty easy to set up. I just downloaded it. I can open this and, oh, look at this. Okay, great. So I have this nice PDF that's just been made for me. It has all of the information that I had on that adjustment screen, product ID, warehouse location, quantity, condition, leakage, corrosion, temperature, a note, and then an image as well. And right down here as well, batch details. Okay. And all of this can be configured pretty easily. It's all just based on HTML code. This is not only nice for managers to take a look at and approve or have questions on or make comments on and send back to warehouse users or inspectors, but it's also great in order to have as in our for our archives. And so I'll refresh this page here. This is our OneDrive. And whereas before we didn't see these two files here, now we do. All right. One is an HTML and one is a PDF. The HTML is in here essentially because it's part of the PDF creation process, which we'll speak about here in a minute. But we do have the PDF, which is going to be sitting in here. These numbers at the end represent the date and time when it was created. Okay. If I want to access this again at any time, I can just select it and see that PDF report again. Pretty fun. I think that's pretty cool. All right. So now we've gone through, as the warehouse user or the inspector, we've gotten into our app. We've taken a look at the on hand to orient ourselves. We've taken a look at days in location, days till expiration, the stock level quantity. We've noticed maybe an adjustment that needs to be made. We've sent off a report directly to a manager, automatically created, automatically archived. And now the manager needs to respond. So like we saw with our team's message, we can either respond here, reject or approve, or we can respond based on our Outlook here. All right. So here I'll select approve, and it's pulling up another screen over here on the right off camera. It's just asking me to sign in. All right. Now coming back to our Power Automate flow here, we can see that everything is green. We have that nice green check mark there. For our start and wait for an approval, we can see the response, approved. We can see the date. We see a lot of great information available to us. And then coming down here to this condition, since I did approve, it went ahead and updated a row and selected environment, which means posting that adjustment to the database. If I did not approve, then it would just terminate this flow. This termination can then go out and automatically send out rejection emails to whoever is involved. But here we have the system telling us, hey, we did go ahead and post those adjustments. Here we have our Power Automate flow. So starting up at the top, we have our Power App trigger, where we're actually pulling in all those different fields from the adjustment page. We're then creating the HTML file in OneDrive. This is what we saw earlier. This file right here, it's just part of that creation process. We then are converting that file. So converting from HTML to PDF. Doing our consistency check. That's more or less a step for me in particular in order to make sure that things are going well. We're then creating a file. We're creating that PDF, getting our file content, using a specific path. So we're grabbing that PDF report. Then we're updating in the background a field called approval status pending. All right. So this brings us to another page in Power Apps where we can actually take a look at the progression of our submission that we'll see here in a minute. We then start and wait for an approval with that attached PDF and the conditions. If our outcome is equal to approved, then we go down this route and make that adjustment. If it's not, then we terminate and say that we are canceling this. Okay. So last but not least, let's check out our submissions here. And up at the top, we can see the latest one. It was for donor blood, product 3, this batch, status approved, and we have a date and a time associated with it. If we want to, we have this little refresh button on the side here. I kept this pretty simple because this can be built out ad nauseum with all of the information that you want. It can include the approver, the submitter, more information about date, time, items specifically that were approved and being able to sort this and that. But essentially, in the back end, we have our status switching from either pending, having our status be created as pending, and then switching to approved after our report and adjustment is fully approved and updated in the back end. Okay, that completes our walkthrough of InventorySync, an inventory management app that is particularly useful for the BioLife industry, but really any company that has niche, tailored needs for their adjustments, quality control, and need for an approval process that is automated, but doesn't want to go through a full-blown implementation of WMS and QMS systems. So if you're interested in working with D365 and pairing it with the power of Power Apps and Power Automate, then let me know. Again, my name is Jeff Stiles, and it'd be a pleasure to work with you. Bye-bye.